Hi, everybody. This is budget meeting of River Edge Mayor and Council, Saturday, January 20th. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Borough Hall, by email to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law or schedule, including the date and time of this meeting. I'd like to remind all members of the public that we have 3 fire exits in our council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. Alan, please call the roll.
Councilman Papaleo, Councilman Bartoloni.
Here.
Councilwoman Bastide is absent with prior notice. Councilman Aquafrida.
Is that with prior notice also?
With prior notice. Councilwoman Davis.
Here.
Councilman Kiningo.
Here.
Mayor Mignon.
Here. To briefly stand and salute the flag, please. Peter, would you like to lead us this morning, please?
Pardon?
You want to lead us in the flag? Just start.
We just start off.
Aye.
Aye.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's for the record now that I need to adjourn at least by 10 o'clock. So.
Yes. I need to do fire though, because I'm not going to be here next week.
I know.
What did you say? I'm wishing.
No, it's everybody has conditions. Okay, Alan, is there any updates from last week? Changes that we have been booked or that we...
A couple, but Mayor, first I'd just like to start with an overview of our debt policy before we get into capital. In the Brown Book, if you have it in front of you, if you don't, you can just listen to nothing. There's a lot in the Brown Book, but there is a tab that gives you the debt policy. And if you go to that, you'll see there's a second page in that talks about the ceilings or the caps that we've imposed on ourselves as part of this debt policy. And the first test or cap is really 1% of the last equalized valuation basis is the limit as far as our permanent debt goes. So we're going to show you a calculation in a minute that will give you that 1% figure, and then we'll measure it against the schedules that we have here to see whether we are within the debt policy. The other test is an overall look at our outstanding debt, and that's not to exceed 11% of our prior year expenditures. And we'll take a look at that calculation in a minute as well. I'd just like the record to note that Councilman Papaleo is now here. If you go to your correspondence book, correspondence 14 has the calculation in it. So if you open up the tab on your correspondence book, you'll see the cover page for our annual debt statement. And this is a state mandated form where we're required to calculate our annual outstanding net debt each year and then update it as we pass individual ordinances during the year. You'll see that our total outstanding annual debt is $11,117,825. Below that, we have these equalized valuations, and if we take the average of the equalized valuation basis of $1,709,196,545.33, multiply that by 1%, the total is $17,091,965, and I gave you that calculation at the bottom of the page. So the $11 million is well within this $17 million figure, and you have room to issue additional overall debt there should you need to. Now the state has its own state limit, which is 3.5%, and that 3.5% legally we would have the ability to go up to $59 million. So at $11 million, you're well below the state level of 3.5% and your own self-imposed policy of $17 million. Below that equalized valuation figure in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that our percentage is 0.65%. We're just a little over 0.5%, keeping in mind that the state limit is 3.5%. So, again, that's another indication that our debt is moderately low. All right, if you go to the next page, you'll see the 11% calculation of our prior year expenditures. This is the last page of our budget report. And we look at the paid or charged column, and we had last year $14,555,729. Times 11% will give us $1,601,000 left. So that's our limit for our annual debt service. To measure that against what we have in the budget for 2018, we're looking at the schedule up on the screen, and you also have it in your correspondence as the additional schedule. But this is our schedule of payments for our bond principal. And this is a loan from the Environmental Infrastructure Trust, where we eliminated 2 pump stations in town, did an interlocal with Paramus, and we borrowed the money at a very low interest rate. We have 2 payments left here that'll be done in 2019. You can see that these issues from 2005 and 2009 will both be over in 2019, so these 4 payments will drop off by that time. And you'll have this schedule from 2007, 13, and this is what we did last year. This was our issue of $4.9 million spread out until 2029. The total principal amounts are over on the right-hand column, and you can see here we total $1,315,000 and $1,332,000, and then it will drop off as we lose some of the other issues. Now we'll take a look at the interest. These are the interest payments against those principal amounts. We have our interest rates up at the top here. They're all very favorable. The interest total for the years appears over here, and our combined total, which is what we want to get to for principal and interest. For 2018, it'll be $1,544,692, and about the same number for the following year. But for 2018, you are within that $1,601,000 debt limit for your policy. But you're very close, and that's what I wanted to point out to you today, is that there's not a lot of room for extraordinary growth, here. You have to be cognizant that for 2018 and 2019, you're going to try and live within your policy here and evaluate where you go forward after that point in time.
Now, can you go back to the principal schedule?
Yep.
So we did that 4.9 last year,
Right.
but do we have any idea how much we still have authorized that we haven't issued? Because this won't include that. This will include whatever we start today going forward, correct?
Yes, yeah, there's still ordinances on the books that have yet to be funded. For instance, we have the 2 large grants from the DOT for the streetscape on Kinnecmack and the sidewalk project on Kinnecmack Road, pretty much south. So those have not been funded at all. We're anticipating receiving grant funds for a significant portion of those ordinances.
But that's a little over $1 million.
I don't have the unfunded amount during the break. I can certainly
I was just curious because that has to go into the thinking going forward. Because it looks nice that it's going to drop off, but that doesn't tell the whole story.
It's about 1.2 between the 2.
probably.
No, previous offense.
Yeah, I'm just saying the 2 grants that
Yeah, one was 800, the other was for
Yeah.
interest free something. And then it was, engineering and the other costs.
Just to clarify my own, this exhibit, this whole discussion is up until today. What we do with capital going forward is not included, correct?
No, we haven't financed anything that's on our capital list that we're going to look at today. That would have to be financed either through short-term borrowings, which would not appear as part of our policy, this is only for permanent, long-term debt. But eventually, even the short-term borrowing would have to be turned into something that's long-term and paid off. You know, the state is very strict about allowing you to borrow on a short-term basis, but only so far, and then make sure that you meet your obligations going forward.
But, so we may have approved previous projects, authorized the debt, but have not yet went out the bond, so that's why that's a little deceiving, because there could be, like Alan said, those two projects is over $1 million in and of itself.
There are two factors that can go into that to increase it, is what we hadn't done from the past.
Yes, and then now, yes, so that's why we have to look at we need to look at the whole picture.
So which one is the carry forward balance? It's not coming. It's not coming.
Okay, we
Mhm.
move back to operating.
Well, I think Mary must have got it if we don't get to the fire.
Well, but you're doing capital operating. Oh.
I said it low.
Maybe we can go with the fire department budget first, and operating and capital. Do you want to do that, Mary? Take it.
Okay, I met with, the chief, this week, and we sat down and we discussed mainly the large item issues that they asked for. So does everybody have this?
No, I don't know that we do. What page is that?
I have the schedule up on the screen here, and you have a copy under your capital tab. Summary, I thought the summary, first page would be the summary of capital.
They wanted to replace two command vehicles, the deputy and the assistant chiefs. The chief got one, I think, a couple of years ago, so this was replaced. They're 10 years old, $51,000 each. I spoke about us either not getting them or possibly doing one, and he was good with that. It was a really nice meeting. They want to go to the Ford product because John Lynch does all of the work on the police cars, which are Fords. So it would make it much easier for him to not be working on the Durango, but to be working on Fords for everything. So that's why they're wanting to go to a Ford product. The next...
They want to go to the Explorer?
I think he didn't specifically say which one, but they do want to go to the Ford product. And that's mainly because of discussions with John Lynch, that, you know, it's easy for them, that's what they work on with the police cars.
Right.
And
Did you discuss, I'm just curious, the police cruiser is 31.8, and the fire department vehicle is 54. Why there's a difference of in the cost?
51 is what I have, I don't know.
I was just curious, like, what, if we get
I did
an
not go
Explorer...
looking at the police, I stayed with...
No, I'm saying, but it's the same car.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Maybe,
wondering
maybe.
why it's
I don't know if
$21,000 more.
You said that it was the Explorer. I don't know for a fact that that's what it was.
I would have to imagine
Assuming
that's what it
yeah.
would be. That would be the equivalent
Yeah.
vehicle of the Durango.
Isn't there one higher though, that justifies it, like the Expedition or something like that? It's just a little bigger, a little...
Ford just changed the Expedition, so I don't know. Yeah, I would imagine it'd probably be the Explorer. I mean, that's the equivalent of the Durango in size and function. So.
But you still have that question in terms of...
Why it's more?
I'm sure they can provide it if they haven't, maybe they can provide it.
I don't know. I'm just curious.
I have some things here. It might be that, you know, you've got the Motorola attached to the cost and everything else. I don't, that may not necessarily be, that may be fully equipped,
Okay.
okay? I did not discuss the cost of the police cars with him. But there is some more information here on different, Ford cars.
That's it?
Excuse me?
That's it? Yeah, me too. What they spec'd out here is a police interceptor, utility all-wheel drive vehicle. 26,951.
Did it get double counted? That's 20,
And they added them together?
52-ish.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, make
wasn't.
sure I get
wasn't
that
talking-
back, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realize there was only one of that.
We'll have Alan make copies during the break.
Okay. So anyway, that was the discussion on the cars, and, you know, they are 10 years old, they're, you know, getting fixed, more and more things going wrong with them. And, actually, they're 13 years old. It's supposed to have a useful life of 10 years. And they're starting to have costly repairs, so that was, you know, why they put in for the two, but, you know, I spoke to them about that they might not be able to get any, or, you know, what's the possibility of the one, and I think one is a little bit, older than the other, only by a year or so. Then the next, thing we discussed was the radios, which they have not spent the money that we gave them last year yet, because we were on that 3-year plan. And the reason being, they're working now on the grant that I had told them about last year, but we were too late. And they're working with, George is working with you, right, Alan, on that?
Well, yeah, we put resolutions on in front of the council for Monday night
Right.
to authorize the application.
And
Two applications.
he actually spoke to Senator Gottheimer the other day, and they're gonna go ahead with that, so they're gonna hold up on using this just to see if they get and what, you know, how much they get. So that's on the radios. Then, the equipment for cleaning the turnout gear, which was $24,000. He explained that to me, which was quite an education. They now go to New Milford. New Milford has a machine, and they go twice a year, and they have the equipment cleaned there. But he was explaining that there's coming more and more rulings from the state, because when you come back from a fire, you have carcinogens on the equipment and all, and that they should be cleaned each time. So that was why they put that up there. And then the next big issue was refurbishing, what's the number of that? The rescue truck. I don't know if it has a number or not.
It's right underneath the Don Depot.
Yeah, no, I know where it is there. I'm looking for my paperwork over here. And I told them about us having different numbers on it, but the actual number was 496, which is also in this paperwork that I have on refurbishing it. And we put 525 because you never know, you know, you get a few extras here and there. I told him it didn't look too good, getting that, you know, that done at this time. He explained that it goes to every single fire, and as Al had mentioned last week, that it doesn't have a pump on it. So it's not used for water, but it is used for all rescue, everything, all motor vehicle.
My question was, engine 3 that we just bought is a pumper, it has the mechanics in it, it was like 400,000. This is a truck that doesn't have those mechanics in it, so why does it cost
They have the,
more, almost 100,000 more than a pumper does? It's just to refurbish it. I'm just curious, what's the cost on a brand new one versus, you know, refurbishing it, and why is it so much? Because a brand new truck was 400. That was the point I was making with the pump.
well, it was purchased in '88 for $245,000. And he said that, you know, they went out and got prices and all on the refurbishing of it. And, you know, that's what it came out to, $496. But that was, you know, with everything, lettering, everything included, you know, complete.
Yeah.
Now, if they were to prepay 75% of the chassis this year, they would get about $20,000 discount. And it would be paid, and then they would do the actual refurbishment and all next year. So, it says the chassis and the cab is estimated at $295. And then, you know, everything else is
I'm
the
wondering,
extras.
before we get into any specific, whether we're gonna keep it or not, I just wanna globally say, last year, I think our capital improvement fund in the budget was 129,000. This year, we're already at 252,000. We need that number to come down to 129 or below. And the only way to do that is not only to remove some of the bonding, but later on, I think when we get a little more into it, I think we're going to pull out some things we normally put under small costs. We'll probably have to bundle them and put them in a bond to keep the charges down in this budget. So on the one hand, if you bond $500,000, it's not that bad. It doesn't look bad. It's only $2,500 in the budget.
Right.
But then we're adding half a million to our debt.
I did explain to him that, you know, it's a tough year for us, and funny because he said, I know the community center, and I said, nope, I said, that's not it. So I just wanted to go on record that everybody out there thinks that that's the reason it's such a tight budget is because of the community center, and I told him that we've been putting money away for that. I think, how much is it this year that it's gonna, 35,000, something like that?
Yeah, it's going to be on the order of 30,000.
So it was a great meeting, I thought. He's very open, very understanding. I would like, you know, to get as much as we can. We didn't go over any of the, you know, the smaller items.
I mean, just, you know, the difference between the 26,000 for the one, you know, that's listed on the state contract there, if that's the state contract price. You know, that could be the difference between getting 1 or 2 replacement vehicles this year. So I really kind of want to lock that down, because if it's 26,000, then
But see,
you can
have
get
the-
2
You
for
have the
what
police
they-
number in your head.
I know, but if that's what they spec'd out was the
The
same,
number's on the sheet.
it's a car. A
Correct.
car's a car. It
But
doesn't
he
matter
puts
what
the
it.
number of what is needed, you know.
But that's the number he gave us in his backup. The 26,000. The car was 26, not 50, 51 each.
Correct, but he, he said that was complete with everything.
Well, again, look at the estimate he has right there. One car is 26,000. I'm wondering if they double counted.
Makes sense, right?
26, 52, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So.
Hey, can we also get them to give us a price on that first unit, like Al said, at 500,000?
Yeah.
We could buy it.
Well, you know, I don't want to speak for the group, my feelings, obviously, I don't think we're gonna fund the whole thing this year. If we have some good numbers, I think we can certainly put some money towards it this year.
Right.
And do it over several years. But
So that's the law.
we need to know what the end number's gonna be.
I mean, that number's the same as buying a new one, why would we refurbish?
I'm gonna guess the new one's gonna come back at 7 something, that's what I'm gonna say. I've heard that number once before.
Yeah, I don't know. I
might
mean, rescue truck.
Say, you know, it may be the same as the new one, it's like, well, why not buy the new one then?
So let's get that clarified.
I mean, the refurbishment will buy you another 10 years or thereabouts, probably, I guess. But it's only 10 years. So if you do the math, you know, even if it's 600,000, that'll last you 20 years versus 500, which will buy you another 10. Doesn't, you know, it doesn't make sense. So,
See, I don't think it's what you both just said, that the 51 is doubling the price. The second,
well, the second one, the Motorola's radios,
correct, well, I think George is adding everything in together.
but you can't add everything.
Everything that the
together.
truck needs. This is the basic truck, or SUV, or whatever it is.
So the
I'll
cost
talk,
doubles the
I'll talk
equipment?
to him again. Excuse me?
Yeah.
You can't. I mean,
Doubles?
yeah, I mean the equipment we usually swap out from one car
Well,
to
that's
the
the other
other.
thing, why can't we just do that? Like, why,
Well, that's what we usually do.
Well, we do. I asked him about the equipment, and he said, yes, they do, like the command center and all that, it goes with the new.
I mean, like I said, I just want to know, because that really is the difference between maybe getting one versus getting both of them replaced. You know what I'm saying? That's why I want to lock that down. Like, if we can replace both of them, you know, great. But
But I think,
this,
I'm gonna stick out.
yeah, the other little thing that's gonna come in here is whether, I just told you, you know, police have a car in their operating budget
yeah.
to purchase, and it's $22,000 that I don't know if he can get the car he wants under state contract, but we certainly can bond it if we had to, or he can look at doing a lease, because that's $20,000 that he's got directly come out of the operating.
Well, the lease goes into the operating
Yes, but
budget.
it's gonna be $4,000 a year versus the $20,000.
What's that?
Police, how much is it per year?
No, we were talking about leasing an SUV. So,
The chief has done it different ways over the years. He's purchased, he's leased, he's done both. This year he's back to doing purchase under capital and doing a purchase under operating. And you know, operating, we have to take dollar for dollar into the budget. If we bond it, we only have to put 5% down.
But on the capitalization side, how can you capitalize?
Well, we're capitalizing one, so why not both?
But when you purchase it, you actually,
Well, we don't have $50,000
you
to go.
capitalize better because you have the life expectancy.
That could be very well true, but we have to look at bringing the overall budget down. We are probably in the order of $800,000, a little over. So, I mean, we gotta keep the global objective in mind too, because we have to get to not only, you know, the legal budget in terms of appropriations, also on the on the tax levy, and then what we think the tax rate should be. So, we're a long way from having, even getting close to a legal budget, I think, at this point.
But now with the new tax law, you can actually depreciate it in 1 year. Because that is going to.
We don't pay taxes. The borough doesn't.
No, I'm saying when you purchase a new equipment, instead of depreciating for the lifetime of the equipment, you can take the whole stuff for 1 year, right?
We don't pay taxes.
yeah, we don't pay taxes on our purchases. There's no depreciation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alan, I always just every year, is there any money in capital surplus?
Yes, there is. I think in the past, we've used about 20-some odd thousand,
Yeah,
which
so we're able to
I
do
could
that.
recommend that. So that could be a deduct at the bottom of our schedule here, to show you that will come into play. Down here, we have our totals for these two capital improvement funds, and we have funds on hand, capital improvement fund, capital surplus, so we would insert the 20 here, which would reduce, the amount that we need for these two columns.
I would make that recommendation. We just book that.
We have.
I'll second, well, I'll make a motion
What,
Thank you.
to add.
Recommend that we're gonna use 20,000 for capital surplus toward the capital budget. That's what we typically do. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Mayor.
So the,
1,000, what's that?
so, Mary, the radios, that's in addition to last year? So were they waiting to bundle it over the 3
yeah,
years?
they're waiting because they want to pick the right radio now. If they end up getting the grant, then they may get different ones,
Okay.
better ones.
You're still planning to use the funds? no
Oh,
matter
they're
what?
definitely using funds.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not coming back.
And,
Question.
But
They
the
just
grant-
haven't used it yet.
But is the grant for the radios?
No, I don't think so, is
Yeah,
it?
can I talk a little bit about?
yeah, because I'm confused
So,
about that.
yeah, they had a radio program that they were phasing in, and last year we did have an ordinance, I'm gonna say about $20,000, maybe it's about 26, I'm not sure. But this year they put the second phase in, part right here, the radios, you can see that's their second amount. And then, there was this, fire assistance grant that was, out there. And at first they thought they might, try and do this on a tri-borough basis, but that has not worked out. So they're looking at doing it individually. Now, each individual town was going to have a radio replacement cost of $400,000 because they're looking to go to an upgraded radio base station, et cetera, based on certain recommendations of the federal government, I guess. So what you see down here, this was some down payment, this was some match money that we were putting into the capital to offset the radio requirement. What we've found out now in the resolution you'll have in front of you on Monday night, it has the 5% match requirement, which is going to total about the amount that we had in that first ordinance. So what I'm trying to say is we've already met the match requirement for this grant.
So that would come out here.
So your radio, if you're going to say, we're going to support an application and see what happens with the radio grant, this could come out, and probably these radios could come out as well. And then you would be waiting on, to see what happens with the grant. I know what I haven't included here, and the fire department has also indicated this too, is I'd like to put in a second application on the refurbishment of the rescue vehicle as well. And, we have the full amount of the refurbishment here.
Would
The
that be a
rescue
5,
vehicle here.
would that be a 5% match?
Yes, that'd be a 5% match, too, so we would have to, come up with that, put that into our budget, but not, not this full amount here.
So what I would recommend then is, removing, the Triborough radio, assisted match, since we already have the 5%. I would still leave the radios, the 22,515 in there, in case you don't get the grant, because,
Well, that's what they wanted to do.
yeah, so I wouldn't remove that. And then I would take the re-chassis and refurbishment and knock that down and leave the 5% in there as a
I was doing wrong.
placeholder.
That would be, what's that? Almost 5,000.
No, I apologize, I have to go look at my resolution that I drafted for you. They have a calculator that you have to put numbers in, so that's what I did. I want to be accurate and give you the right numbers. On a break, I can get that information.
I would suggest that if we're gonna have to do this over multiple years, put in maybe 75 to 100 per year. Or maybe, at least for the first couple of years. And then try to fund the balance in maybe 2 years from now. Because I don't see it happening this year or next year.
I mean, the 5%, the impact of the budget either way is not, that dramatic, so if you want to put it at 75,000.
That's
then I'd make that.
the same rationale with the radios, I want to make sure that we.
Yeah.
Decent amount towards it if it doesn't, if they don't get a grant.
So then I'd make that to reduce the rechassis and refurbishment to 75. So it's a three-parter here. It's,
Make a motion then.
I'd make the motion to remove the tri-borough radio, assistance to firefighter grant match, completely, to remove that, and to change the rechassis and refurbishment of Rescue 1 to 75,000, and that's it, actually. That's the motion.
Overall cost, 75,000.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Look 'em.
And then we're leaving the radio alone in case,
Just, well, that's what.
yeah, in case we don't get the grant.
If they
it's
don't
got,
know, if
you
they
know.
don't get the grant, then they're gonna.
Yeah,
have to
I mean,
do it. Yeah, so you
no.
gotta not touch that.
Yeah, no,
And we
that's
agreed on
it.
that last year.
Yeah, and then as far as the washer and extractor, I mean, I'd make that motion to, keep that, so, you know, I'm not looking
To do what?
we'd leave that in, the washer and extractor seem to be their other big purchase.
Just put, we bought everything in.
Everything in, yeah.
Well, for now, and then. as we go
And then
through.
we'll.
Well, except
go
the-
after that.
I'd remove the
So,
siren system.
Believe me, I had that discussion.
Yeah,
That's out.
I'd make a motion to remove the siren system.
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think we should probably remove one of the Durangos at this point. Either way, you know, we're going to,
You're correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so I'd make a motion to
2005.
remove the first command vehicle 2005 Durango from the capital list.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I said, I think, you know, as we get later on in the process, I think some of the little ones we may bundle into it.
Yeah, and then, like I said, though, if we can revisit that, you know, if it's really, if they're buying an Explorer off a state contract, and it's that price that we saw there is
Yeah, well,
26.
that's what it is, and I'm wondering if it's just a mistake in it.
Well,
It may or may not be,
maybe.
but we,
But
either way, I
if,
think.
but if that's
Either way,
the,
it's-
but if that's the car they're, you know, the truck they want, we
Either
might
way,
be able to get,
it's-
well, I'm saying, well, okay. All right, I'm saying we'll be able to.
Visit all
I
the-
discussed that.
I'll leave it to the liaison.
But we'll revisit all this at the end, because sometimes we can add stuff back in that we
Right.
take it out.
I thought I had further information, but
So I think
Yeah.
we don't have to make all the decisions.
Do you know the mileage on this, guys? I'm just curious if they told you.
No.
No. I was just wondering if they're like,
The other question I had.
I know they get driven a lot.
we specifically said 2005 Durango, but just, I
Should
don't know
we-
if it's an issue, should we just say a Durango? Because
Yeah.
maybe one is better than the other, perhaps?
Yeah, whatever they want to.
One
amend
is,
the motion.
yeah, one is older, the older.
Councilman,
To amend the motion from the line item 2005 to line item 2006.
Well, I would,
No,
No.
just do whichever one.
I would just say, look, just do it in terms of dollar. Oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah.
it's just a command vehicle.
All right, so amend the motion, so not specifically one or the other, but removing the dollar amount to 54,060.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
That
opposed?
way they can replace whichever one they feel.
Mary, not a lot, but the cameras, I had thought I saw in an older ordinance, we still have money for thermal cameras.
I think they replaced, during the year, they lost one, so I think they've used that money up.
Okay, so it wouldn't be reflected in that, because whatever the last one I had looked at, I thought I still saw it there, but I'll check, I don't have my
I think
notes.
they had a problem with one, they had to go out on an emergency basis, and they used that, utilized that money.
All right. Flying over. Is there,
Let's go, let's go to the next bit, let's just do DPW.
I was just wondering if Mary had anything in operating.
Well, I don't know where to jump from.
I
Wait.
know she,
What
no,
did you do last night? Decide to pick on me all
no,
night?
you said you wanted to do fire today, so that's why I wanted to ask.
No, I did not.
Okay,
I
all
just
right.
did the,
If there are any
big
recommendations,
capital items.
if there are any recommendations for operating from either the chief or yourself, just let us know so that we will know. I don't believe they asked for much of an increase.
No, I don't think so, that's why I was.
That's why I didn't there, but just confirm it.
Yeah, just wanna make sure.
I will.
Actually, I was asking because last year, I think, we increased the clothing allowance, but we didn't increase it to 100%.
Right.
I wanted to see if this year they upped it to get it to that 100%. That's why I was asking, because that would be an operator. But just, if you find out, let me know, and then we'll put it next week. That's all.
I think in terms of DPW, Mr. Councilman Papaleo has, to the contrary, I think the 4 items, the jet vac, the snowplow, the scan tool, and his radios are things that John doesn't ask for things lightly. And I believe the sewer vac has been coming for a number of years, and John is great at getting it to limp along. And I think Alan said last week that is one of the pieces of equipment that is very heavily used. And it's also one of these pieces of equipment that if it doesn't work, we're subject to potential DEP violations if we don't clean sewers, if we don't do those things. So it's a very necessary piece of equipment.
Yes, I'd like to also add that with the jet vac during the summer, John had, I believe, 4 or 5 demos come in, and he had the entire DPW staff for the demonstrations. He looked at all the pricing. He looked at what they were offering. Some jet vacs have the jet on the front, some have it on the back. There was a concern for the safety if it's running off the back for the men. So they did due diligence when it came, and they didn't pick the cheapest one, but they didn't pick the most expensive one. They picked the one that met all of the requirements for River Edge, was not too robust, but not too, weak in its performance, and that would be the best safety-wise as well as operation-wise when it comes to repairs and maintenance. They looked at that, which ones could they do the repair and maintenance in-house versus out-of-house. So I want to give them credit on the record for really doing their best to find the lowest priced one that met all of our needs, both safety, maintenance, and service.
And to add to that, because John had actually shown me the actual one we're getting down, I believe that would show it to you too. But John's also very, very prudent with options. He did not want computer displays. He didn't want touchpads. He wants dials he can move, valves he can close, so that reduced the cost also. And I think part of why he got a better, what he mean, quote unquote better, he got a larger engine. He got number of standards, which made sense also. So I agree with the councilman that John always puts a lot of effort into making sure we get the costs that they're validated they can get. And we'll make a motion on those. Just no, we're not cutting them, so we'll just leave them for now.
Yeah. Mayor, I had I did not have a full conversation with John about building and grounds, demolishing 10 River Edge Road, which is the Shade Tree building. But I did have a conversation with Shade Tree. They were not aware of that item being on the agenda for capital.
The building's been condemned, so.
The building's been
John
condemned?
said it's not functional, there's no services. I don't believe there was even heat at this point.
No, there is heat,
There
there's
was something
electricity. The toilet has been shut off, but that's the only services that were moved. So I'm going to have a conversation with John about this. Our conversation went long about the other items, and we're going to speak again about that. So I don't know exactly, to my knowledge, it has not been condemned.
Well, he told me no one is allowed to go in it, and he told Shade Tree that. They're not allowed to go in it. That's what he said.
They were not aware of that. We just had a meeting.
I'm telling what John told me.
I know. I'm just
Asked
sharing
him
with you,
when he
because
told
there
us
seems to be
that
some
we couldn't go there.
confusion. I just wanted to share that with the council. Because Shade Tree was not aware that they couldn't go into the building. They were not aware that it was on the agenda. And I told John I wanted to speak to it, but we weren't able to get to it. So I just wanted to make the council aware of that.
Okay. On the infrastructure, I think we've looked at two things. We cannot support the request for road resurfacing that was put in there. What is three?
We have 371 total costs for road resurfacing 2018 DPW requests.
I'm thinking that it's gotta be around 175, 200. It's probably,
What did we do last year?
we had some old money too last year from previous ordinances.
Yeah. Thought I asked John to, hold on, let me look that up.
We had 200,000 in the budget last year.
How much
In the capital budget, we had 200,000, but we did supplement it with remaining balances and some old ordinances, I think, to get closer to 3. Of course, we don't have those supplemental ordinances this year.
I would say that 200 is closer than we have to go to 200 at this point. And it's one of the larger items. Because I don't, sewer subsequent recommendations, these are projects which have been pending. And I think the subcommittee as a whole recommended that we, I think we have 3 projects now, or 4 projects, we cleaned it out.
3 or 4.
And then I think we need to have some money in that sidewalk pilot improvement program. I would just put 10,000. We keep saying we're gonna do it. We need to do something because it's an issue that just keeps getting worse, and we don't seem to be able to address it. And, you know, I've spoken to these different companies, so I believe they told me they would come in and they would do just a few slabs for a demonstration project for us. So I would like to keep something in that.
John was saying to me that with the sidewalk, the 15K he put in had to do with 2 handicap locations on River Edge Road, and that he thought we needed to keep that in. And that's why he felt the 15 needed to stay there.
But that was under the building and grounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in the
I
building
got a little
grounds.
confused with that myself.
No, this, what I'm speaking of is, we had said we were gonna do some, this is gonna be on residential, doing some different methods on some residential sidewalks.
Oh, that one, yes.
That's the public sidewalks, yes, I agree.
So you're talking, which one is that then that you're speaking to?
It's about halfway
Yeah,
down.
it's the last one under infrastructure.
There's the public sidewalks on buildings and grounds.
And we have nothing there right now.
Yeah,
No.
they said that we could, that would be 10,000.
Well, we can always take it out if we need to. So I'll make that motion.
What do we make, moving?
You're asking, you're recommending that on infrastructure, sidewalk pilot improvement program, currently have nothing. You're recommending 10.
Yep.
I'm making that motion conditionally, well, not conditionally, but making that motion, and we can always revisit it later.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll make a recommendation on the road surfacing for now.
And I put it at 150.
I think that's, I don't know if that's a good idea. But of course, we can come back to it. I think 200.
Difference 175.
Sure. What, I'll amend to 175,000.
I'm sorry, just so I understand, this is for us to resurface roads this year in 2018?
Yeah.
Are there specific roads that we're looking at?
John has a list.
Yeah, there's,
So John and our engineer, Mr. Coster, they survey the roads, they create a list. It's an ongoing list from year to year. The list then, they review it regularly, and of course, if residents call in, they go and look at them, and then they create a priority list. We don't normally get involved, would we say, because we don't want to make it political. So that list does exist. We can get that for you if you wish.
It makes more sense not to, know.
There's a checklist they go through to rate the roads, and then they get prioritized. And again, if we had the money, we would do obviously much more, because the complaints I get are when we may just do one block of a particular street, but the other ones don't really need it, and then people say that looks, you know, why'd you do it that way? Well, but that's why we do it that way, because you have to address the worst places first, and we don't have the money to just repave every street.
Sure. Thank you.
So we're at a motion of
What's that,
175.
Mike?
I made it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
I have the, the library, did we not have correspondence from Dara that they were going to look at grants for some of those projects?
Yes, we have an email, I think it's in the correspondence actually, where he's suggesting that we look to the bonding that the state has done for the libraries. There is a 50% match on that, but he's suggesting that a grant application be put in for some of the circulation tables for the youth, the HVAC system, and the green space allocation that they're looking at doing.
Yeah, so we have, the HVAC of the library come out anyway, we said we're gonna try to address that as part of this community center. That's building its grounds for total $169,600. The public service desk was $21,000.
That's C9 in your
And then the
correspondence.
children's circulation, that's another 19.
Number 9 in your correspondence.
We want to maybe take those out for now. I think the security camp, it asked for the funding and we've taken it away. I think it's something we really need this time, or that we should actually try to fund it this time, so I would recommend we keep that in for now.
What's that?
The security cameras.
So we're removing, you're recommending we remove the HVAC, and what was the other item there?
The two desk projects, the children public service desks, for 21.
I can't find it, I'm
It's
sorry.
the first one on the library.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you.
The first one on the library, and then the fourth one on the library, because it's their intention to apply for a grant for those.
Again, so if they don't get the grant, then they're gonna be out. Can we
Well,
keep
the
one
grant's
for
not
now?
gonna happen this year anyway, by the time they would get it, so they won't know till later in the year. Anything, Alan, this has come up before.
Well, have we resolved these 3 items?
Yes,
Mayor,
sorry.
will be
Yep,
resolved.
so, I'm sorry, Kevin, repeat your motion, please.
I was going to go with, we're gonna remove, buildings, grounds, HVAC library, and we're going to remove library children's public service desk and library children's circulation desk for now from the budget.
Your second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Yeah, the general question I had, I know this comes up from time to time, year to year. We really have no furniture standardization throughout the borough. We don't have any equipment standardization. Everybody gets their own kind of copy, right? I mean, there's no guidelines, we don't have, because, and I know they're probably different in terms of functions, but, you know, we had, was it this year or last year, the clerk had gotten a copier, and it was like 15,000. And then we see one for, we did one for rec, I think last year it was 3,000. Now we have one for the library that's 4,900.
You're correct, we don't have an overall standard, but when we can, we do. So in Borough Hall, copier downstairs, first floor, the clerk's copier, and since it's an older version, the rec copier, those are all the same. Same manufacturer, same service agreement.
Well, that's,
And that's what we've tried to do, is try and be consistent that way. But when you have some off-site locations, it's difficult to coordinate that. So yes, you're right, while there's been attempts to do it, standardize it, we haven't followed through on a consistent basis.
yeah, I'm gonna put this out there because we've done it in Fort Lee. We always buy new furniture. There is I think a place in Richfield Park where they collect furniture from offices that are, I guess, closed or out of business, and it's fractions of the dollar, and the stuff, a lot of it's almost brand new. So I think for chairs and some of the desk stuff, you know, maybe we should start looking at some of those, because it said you get some good quality furniture at a much reduced cost, and as long as they're in good condition, I don't see why we wouldn't go that route.
Mayor, also, there was a recent meeting with Congressman Gottheimer of all the mayors of Bergen County. You weren't able to go. I went. I was invited so that there'd be a representative from River Edge as council president. And they talked about military surplus. And I asked John to look into it, just to have a discussion with the point person for Congressman Gottheimer's office, that we could essentially get this material for nothing other than shipping. It was reported by, I believe, Mayor Paramus, but I'm not sure, that they needed a tree truck, and they got one for free. There is a town in South Jersey that has already gotten about $2.5 million worth of equipment. Military surplus is not just flak jackets, but it's everything. It's filing cabinets. It's
Yeah, there were, you're right, and everything, I mean, I know Fort Lee, we got generators,
yeah.
so.
I'm simply saying maybe we want to look into that too.
Well, we may want to refer to Chief Curtioso, because he had assigned one of the patrol, or one of the sergeant to do that for us. I don't know if you recall, but, you know, Councilman Murphy was a big proponent of this. And
No,
he
he
made
remembered.
the chair, chief assign somebody to review that periodically. I don't know if he did. I know when he looked, said 2 years ago, there was nothing there that suited his needs, but that doesn't mean, you know, it's always changing.
Yeah.
So I think, because this, from what I understand, the system, you know, you have to have authorization to access the system, and from what I understand, it's not user-friendly, but simple.
Yeah.
So you have to actually search, like line by line sometimes, but, you know, maybe if John
Well-
Barone wants to just find out from the PD who's, I understand, but in terms of
Yeah.
getting access to the system,
It's-
you
yeah.
know, somebody who knows how to do it.
So that's why Congressman has put someone in his office responsible for assisting with that, and that's why I asked John to reach out to that person. I know they have. I don't know if they've gotten back, but I just want to kind of throw that out for perhaps, you know, Alan, if John is successful in finding someone who can navigate that system, we may want to also use that person for desks and for copiers if items exist. I'm not saying it does, but
Mr. Mayor, you said before we got generators,
Yes.
is the library looking for a new generator?
So is the ambulance
Yes,
corps.
well, the ambulance, we're funding that for them, at least it's
We
requested.
are.
The library, I think with the community center, it either potentially could be tied in, or it becomes,
I'm just saying, there's free stuff out there.
yeah, if there's a free, yes, we should look for anything, but these were portable. I don't know if we got a standalone, but.
You mentioned it, and I
No,
recall somebody
it's
saying that we
a
need
good
to-
idea, I would certainly look for them.
Can I just put you back on the,
Yeah, I got, you know what, I got the answer. I'm sorry. It does come.
26,951 for the car,
Yeah.
9,464 for radios, 57,34 for the command cabinets, 36,91 for the lighting, 2,500 for lettering, and 2,500 for DPW labor.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Sorry, it didn't. Yeah, it appears that going into the,
Yeah.
from what I read, going from the Durango to the Explorer, the cabinets, I guess, are custom built
Yes.
to fit the car, and now you have to rebuild custom fit
Correct.
cabinets that they use for the command vehicle, and that alone is close to $12,000.
So then wouldn't it behoove us to look back into the Durango so we can just transfer the stuff?
Well, you gotta look
I
at
don't even know if they make-
12,000 as compared to the
I don't
cost
even
of
know if they make
maintenance.
Durangos anymore.
Yeah, no, they started making them, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
But it's
But
probably not the
thing is
same.
with John's
It's
the
probably
one-
not the same body shape anyway, so you're better off going with the Explorer that John works on
And
all the
John's the
time.
one who asked,
Yeah.
suggested that they do that.
So,
Then
so it is that 54,000.
where's the equivalent on the police side?
51 is what they had locked down. I don't know where the 54 came from, but he had 51.
Well, if you add it all up, actually, that 54 is low, because when you add in lettering and everything else, it actually bumps it up over what was requested in
Yes,
capital.
And all the wiring is gonna be done by our borough mechanic.
There's another column, in addition to that 51, which adds
Oh,
dealer
that has the rest,
expenses and
okay.
the whole
So you have to go
process,
through it.
getting the financing, et cetera.
Mm.
So that does build the cost up. We want to make sure you're aware that there are always additional costs beyond the actual, purchase price and acquisition price.
But the total cost of that vehicle to get it on the road and functioning as a command vehicle is
54.
about that 54,000 with the bonding and stuff. So.
I have us down, having removed 1,232,000, about 234,000 so far. 1,232,660, but I could have made a mistake anywhere, but it's a ballpark.
Did we move one of the trucks?
We did.
Just-
Yeah, we moved only
left
one.
one in at that price.
Yeah, that's the real, that's
Right.
the price. With every, it's not just the car, it's every,
Right,
that
right.
goes with it. The cars are cheap.
I said that before.
My question then is, where is that extra cost for the police station?
Thank you very
What do you
much.
Where's the 30?
Like the-
I imagine it's already built in, the lighting and everything else is built into it. There's no equivalency of building cabinets and things like that, so it's not a,
The only thing they usually switch are the lights.
yeah.
The lights cost has raised on the other one, where
And the shotgun.
9,000 and it was 13,000 for those two items.
What's that?
It was 13,000 for those two items for the other truck.
Yeah, but, you mean, why is the police one lower, or, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to see, I would see the breakdown on that.
It's in our book. Yeah, it's in our book.
We don't need to have it out, it's not coming out for now, so.
But I can tell you right now, it's in what Councilwoman Davis had. A lot of it's coming from Spectrum Communications. There's a quote that they received, and the command cabinet with, now here's the only thing though, that you may want to look at, because it says quantity 2, command cabinet with access control drawer, and it's 4,495, but they have it times 2. So I don't know if that's for each vehicle.
So we have the cost of 2 vehicles, but the equipment might be combined.
Yeah, it looks like there might be combining, because the quantity has 2, as opposed to just, maybe 1. But then again, when you add in all those other costs, maybe that you're back at
You're
that.
back at that number.
You're back at that number anyway.
He
so.
just sent me an additional text that said he's checking, but he believes that we paid over 60 for the Chiefs Tahoe in 2014. So,
Yeah, Thomas.
Sounds a big cost.
Good car.
right.
So. These are custom-built cabinets for
Yeah.
for the radios to go in and everything. So.
And these would, the ones that he has now, they're 13 years old, so it's not.
Yeah, no,
like it's,
yeah.
No,
It
it's
wouldn't-
not about, but again,
I know.
it's the overall budget.
The dollars, I get it.
Tough choices.
I get it.
And that's where we're gonna wind up having to go, not the first time.
I mean, it's.
But we
you know,
did leave one in there, correct?
For now.
Yeah. I mean,
Everything is for now.
if there's a way in the future to get stuff that's swappable as opposed to
Yeah.
customizable wood cabinets, that might be,
Well,
that'd be
this,
something to explore, you know what I mean?
but this
but-
now, we're changing from Durango to,
But I'll let somebody else worry about that in 13 years.
That's another 4 terms.
Like I said, I'll let somebody else worry about that.
Councilman Smith then.
I have a different topic, but I don't want to get you off of this one, just a thought, if I may. Because I noticed you have a request for copies.
Yeah.
I noticed you have at least 2 requests for a copy. In the past, I've experienced, again, our scale is small, I understand that, on a much larger scale. I've experienced it with Xerox, that they have an agreement where we upgrade, refurbish, maintain, et cetera, et cetera. This may have been researched in the past, I don't know. To have a set fixed cost and have a rep from a copier company come and adjust all of that, and the cost may be on a fixed basis, just a thought.
I think, well, that goes to the point whether you lease the copiers, because then you have the service built in. All the service on these machines is in our operating budget, so you don't see that. And some of them are $3,000 or $4,000 a year, so, yes, that is a,
Yeah, and there are not only Xerox, there are also some other companies.
yeah, well, a lot of boroughs use Ricoh, some Canons, and, there's some that have to use within the government. I don't know whether they have special programs for municipalities or not, but it is a good way to.
This is the school system, so I'm sure it'll be
Yeah.
just a thought.
It's always the problem with the 2% cap, is that what happens is, because you can't fund these things in your operating, because you hit that, it raises up your operating costs, you hit the cap, it gets transferred into capital, which is not subject to the cap. And so that's the negative of the 2% cap, is that you can't load things into your operating, so you have to push them into capital to get them done. Whereas you might want to lease it and have the service contract, but you can't do it because of the state 2% cap.
Alan, what was our total capital again last year? Ballpark.
The total, like,
Yeah.
had to be around 1.6 or something.
Total approved with contingency and everything.
The number is usually in the grand total. And
$1,352,892.98.
CIF
And
is
that's
one,
a capital improvement fund impact of
That's the number we need to get.
$129,629.
problem is, we can eliminate $100,000 of capital budget, but it's only $5,000 out of the budget, because you
Yeah,
get
no.
down payments.
But it's still,
So I'm seeing here that currently we have before we made the cuts, it was 3.582. And you're saying, what was it again? 1.6. That's all I need. Alan, I don't need the exact.
well, I said about 1.6, I was just ballparking it, but Alan said about 1.3.
One thing also, again, I would like to add it for now, is maybe 25,000 for additional IT needs, and we're gonna probably need some upgraded equipment. We will be on TV, sometime this year, I'm certain of that, so,
Where did that go,
I would just
infrastructure?
throw it under buildings and grounds, or actually maybe the clerk, either one. The clerk's already asking for a computer here, so maybe we just lump that into,
Because I have us approximately, we're about 700,000 away from
No,
that
it's
number
not-
of
well,
1.6.
Yes, but that's, we should look at the CIF number. That's
Yeah,
what-
no, I'm just saying generally.
So,
I mean, there's a few more things I think we can,
I want to stack on, I
Yeah.
want to get that on, get that.
yeah, I'd make that motion for the.
What is the motion again? I'm
So
just,
we're gonna add $25,000.
For,
We'll put it with the, how much is the workstation for the computer?
Yeah,
so I would just make that first item. the
25,000.
Yeah, it's for the computer workstation specifically, and additional IT or technology.
For the council chambers
Council chambers or for
and the surround.
TV, email, whatever we make. And the
moving
phones,
from 400 to 25,000?
yes.
Yeah.
Because we also, one thing we do need to do is, and Stephanie's working on getting the costs, is the phone system here has to be addressed. Our bills are through the roof. We have no functionality. Even when I call in, I get dead ends. And if you call certain departments, it never rings. There's a lot of issues with the phone system. At least if not that, they don't even have lights on their phone to tell them when they have a voicemail. So they actually have to go in and check periodically to get a message. So, it's something Stephanie and I have been looking at the last couple of years. We've gotten some, programs offered by cable and by Verizon, and they throw all these numbers at you, and you really can't figure out the bottom line. I want it clear as to what we're paying for, what we're getting, and how much we're gonna save. So that, hopefully we can get that better information before we finish this process, so we can address it here. if we have
Do
to.
any of our neighbors have a phone system that they've installed recently that we could like call them up and say,
Yeah.
what do you guys use, how much do you guys pay, so that we kind of get an idea?
Yeah, I'll let Stephanie, she's done that, because I know she and I had spoken to he's a local vendor, he's like a rep for different ones down Atlantic City.
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah, you were, yeah. A lot of them, I see a lot of times they're using these Avaya systems, I don't know much about them. That's what he had, or that's what he had recommended to us.
We had that at work at my office.
We have it too, and it's,
I
but-
had it too, but I got rid of it.
but we're looking at the overall thing. So, anyway, we have a motion.
On this matter, but no second.
Is there a second on,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor,
Yep.
I think I would make the motion for the KVG Fieldhouse renovate, to remove that item at this time. It may be worthwhile, I just don't know that we have it's one of those projects that needs to get done this year.
Is that something that, probably wouldn't fall under open space?
No, it probably would, but our open space.
No, I'm not talking about this year, I'm talking about it for.
Yeah, in the future, that might be something for next year. to
There's
look at.
nothing there that's an immediate need, as far as you know?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I think it was one of those items that came up in the study that was done,
Oh,
but
all right, so that, you have a motion
to remove that.
is there a second on that?
Sure, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The pistol range renovation is,
Before we go, I was, it's more in depth, I'm sorry, I was
Right,
looking
good.
while we're still over here on the rec.
Sure.
The hockey rink, the basketball courts, the $30,922, that's been subject of an application to the Bergen County Open Space. And I believe they're saying this is the balance
The
for the
34.
match, for the three projects. I think the whole project was 80,000.
120, I believe it's 120, and we would have to match 50%.
Open space sheet. Would you like me to,
Can you give it back?
yeah. Oh, no, I've combined two things. They had here that the balance was 21,000. The application was for 60. So for the renovation, the basketball, the hockey, and Brookside, they're saying it was 81,000 total in their request.
It's these,
Brookside's 52 almost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying what they have on there.
look at the 60,390 was what they were asking for on that list for their match requirement for the.
No, they're saying that's what they applied for.
But I have the application inside, I think it shows 60 and 60, you know, it shows the
Well,
120 leaves
well,
total
let's,
cost.
well, getting back to it, we're not gonna get 60,000 from open space. So we're gonna have to match something. Probably, I put a placeholder of 50,000. If we get 50 from open space, I would be happy. We'll have to lobby aggressively to get that much,
Mhm.
cutting it. And then that can come out of here, and we put it in open space to match. Those three projects.
Could you
So
clarify
remove
that,
those three
please?
projects?
You're talking about leaving something in capital?
No, I would
So
remove,
moving those three items.
yeah, I would remove those three items, but we have to make sure that we have enough to fund them.
In open space.
Yeah, open space. And we really should again look at the breakdown for three projects in case we can't do all three. It makes sense to do all three at the same time from an economic standpoint. So we'll probably wind up going that way, but for now, I think we can take it out from here and always add back more if open space doesn't fund everything we need it to.
That's fine, I mean, and then we'll have to see what,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, that hockey rink resurface, I think, is a big waste of money, but that's my opinion,
Well,
I don't think anybody plays roller hockey anymore, I mean, I think the 90s are over, and, nobody does it anymore, but it's a dog run. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a dog park, that's where people take their dogs in the morning, and it's not,
But then we have to go back and look at the application. I don't know how it was broken out.
yeah.
If it's, that may not have to be, if we got, say, $30,000 from the grant,
Yeah,
then you make that calculation,
Calculation.
worth spending another 25 to do that or not. But at this point, I would just leave whatever they have in there in terms of the specific projects they have, and just take them out of here, and we'll deal with them in open space. You want to make a
So-
motion to remove those
to remove those.
4 items? Oh, and then the dugouts. other than-
Is the
Well, the
dugout
3 items?
included?
Are we gonna fund the dugouts too? I don't think we've done that.
Well, right now, I just want to maybe remove the 3, because those can be funded in open space, but the dugouts, there's just not enough money in open space to do all 4,
Well,
so.
but that's,
So we have to, well, I just want to wait till we do our open space.
by the time we put everything in open space, we can make the priorities there, and then we can decide if anything should come back, because if we leave things in here and it doesn't go, then I don't know if we're gonna revisit them here.
Where are the dugouts?
Right
Um,
below.
No, I mean, which dugout?
Oh, it's Roosevelt and
Roosevelt Memorial,
Memorial.
they're, basically glorified lean-tos. They're not traditional dugouts, they're gonna be just a slanted roof, posts over the fences, so that one of the things was we thought the cops didn't want a enclosure, so they can't see in, their kids are hanging out, so it's just basically a protective sun visor / rain roof with sides open and the front open. That came through the major study that was done on all of our parks.
You said for Roosevelt?
That's one of the items.
It's Roosevelt and,
Well, we need permission from the BOE?
Yeah, we
would.
would. Yeah, we would need permission from the Board of Ed.
Yeah, so we gotta keep that in mind too.
So,
Well, like I said,
That seems like a lot for what we're talking about.
That's based, I believe that number came off as from the major study. I don't know, I don't recall any of the recognition that,
Okay.
physical code, it's just
Yeah.
direct take off of the major.
You're saying it's too much, man?
It sounds like a lot to me.
I mean, we just looked at the slab for the Kindergarten crosswalk, and it's $25,000
Yes.
for a
And
little
some of
slab.
the main yeah.
We're
But
talking
this
about
is
4
4 of
dugouts.
them.
Yeah, and these have to get,
Benches and
the dugouts at Roosevelt need to be completely
dug out.
dug out, yeah, dug out.
And I think that's gonna be a challenge to get the board to agree to that, but
Why wouldn't the board agree with that?
It's a benefit to
We're
them.
improving their grounds.
I can,
Yeah, I know, but it's,
we shouldn't presume, because we don't have an agreement this year.
No.
Nothing else yet.
So how much are we taking out?
They don't want to
Three
get anything.
or four?
I don't think it's, I think it's too much, but. Still back to the hockey rink in the basket. Yes.
I'll make a motion for the hockey rinks and the basketball courts to be removed at this time.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I was gonna add something. We didn't put anything for traffic improvements, but I think we should probably, and this will have to go into the CIF unless we can bond stuff. Maybe a $7,500 allotment, that'll let us buy more speed signs or flashing signs, or at least we'll have money to buy something if traffic and safety or the police want to recommend the purchase, we'll have money in place for it. So I would just put placeholder 7,500 in.
So moved. I'm sorry.
Second. What, if we ultimately decide, and this, traffic and safety doesn't meet till February, about the striping down, Allen, is that a project that would go on capital?
Bigger striping is gonna cost you $4 a foot.
You're really gonna make me try and figure out how long to.
Well,
Allen,
it's gonna be like
$8 or something
It's gotta be at least a half a mile. It's gonna be more than one.
It's actually, it's a half mile just from,
Yeah, I think from Bogart,
from Fifth up to Howland is a half a mile, so
Yeah,
the whole thing's
from
gonna be
Bogart,
almost a mile.
yeah. Oh, well,
Is it?
yeah, no, 50 Bogart is probably,
Yeah. So, we're dealing with a mile and a half.
It's 15,000, it's 20,000 for striping. 20,000, mile, 5,000, it's 20,000 for. Yes.
What are talking about? What in that area you're talking about?
We're talking about general traffic improvements. There's a lot of recommendations floating around that we haven't settled on, but we have no funding in place to do
I
any of it.
understand that. I didn't understand what street you were talking
Howland
about.
Avenue. Howland.
I'm sorry?
Howland, excuse me, Howland Avenue, my
And what
my voice is going out.
What striking you talking about?
Double striking the
Center line.
center line.
As a traffic calming measure.
So,
Double striking is supposed to make people go slower.
It does.
And I agree with you.
Lots of studies on it.
It does. It's a visual thing.
because people,
Yes, it's a visual thing.
because it narrows,
Yeah. It adds what we call friction to the road. Either you put it in the middle, you put friction on the sides, we say, and it slows people down.
And now is the eye line, so like, now.
Yeah.
you know, it feels like you have this wide an area to travel.
Can I ask you a question?
Either way, but they've both been shown.
With
Yeah.
parking on.
And that could be
either
what
side-
happens.
With
that'd be
parking
a-
on either side, is a double stripe gonna cause somebody to cross the center line?
Well, they'll make sure there's not sufficient room, but I think there's probably enough.
They cross the imaginary center line now, if you
Right.
go down Howland, there's always people like doing
That's
that.
kind of what I'm getting at.
It's, I mean, there's not a lot of, parking on Howland going, towards, Paramus, I mean, on that side. There's really, a lot of people don't park on the street there anyway.
Right, if you're at the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you get it.
But I think.
Because they like their side mirrors.
I would not allocate
so-
anything specific at this time except call it general traffic improvements.
Apartments, they do,
What's that?
the apartments, they
Mm.
do.
But then I think we need to, at least, if that's something that we're gonna do, we have to have the money there to do, to do it, right?
I agree.
Well, would not recommend we're gonna put 25,000 in CIF for that, because that's the problem goes to CIF.
Can we double stripe that street? Or is that a?
I don't know the width, you have to go by the MBTCD, so.
It's our
the
street.
standards.
It's our
But there's
street.
no
It's
standards.
our street, yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah, whether or not it fits, is something the
Relevant.
traffic engineer will have to figure.
There are many different standards that have to be complied in terms of striping, and obviously we have to be in compliance with all those.
Yeah, we're not saying we're going to do it, we're simply saying if
If
it's
you-
decided, we need to have the funding available. So, Al, where do you want to put it?
You know, in actuality,
In general traffic improvements, I would add the other, another 25.
So make it 10
We could get a grant.
instead of 7,500?
but,
No, 25, what'd you say, 25,000?
no, it would be 25. Because DPW can pay the stripe that we have. So,
Well, you tell me, because you said it was $4 a foot.
Yes.
That's why.
but I'm saying, but I would not necessarily say that's going to be our priority, or our only priority if we're going to do traffic.
Yeah, no, I know, it's,
I think we're going to have to address stuff at Continental with cruising. So that's why I put 10,000 to general traffic improvements.
So have we already approved, I believe we already approved the 7,500?
500, yeah.
So I make a motion to increase the 7,500 to 10,000.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
7,500 to 10?
To
Yeah.
10,000, yeah.
So instead of 7.5 thousand, 10,000.
This is which one?
Traffic improvements,
The bus, is that for a new bus?
just to have something in there.
The bus.
Is there a bus? Who bus? There's a bus?
What's the 75,000?
I don't see a bus.
Mine has 75,000.
I don't have a bus. There's no bus. Bus.
Oh, no, mine get the number that is taken out. No, I am still there. It's just this bus. But my copy is 75,000.
No,
Mine,
there's nothing. Yeah.
It's on here. As a line.
Yeah, no.
Mine, I guess the spreadsheet I did for it was.
Yeah, plus the part?
No. But there must have been a request last year because it's listed as a line item. So good, we don't have to remove it.
I mean, I have it as a department listed there with no requests.
Tom, I think.
Did we do delivery generators? Did we do that?
No, we didn't remove
No, we didn't do
Yeah,
that.
okay. We should do that.
I'll make that motion to remove the
Second.
library general.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's go into,
Demolishing 10 River Edge Road.
That's what I just referred to.
Yeah.
There seems to be some confusion
Yeah, I would
about
get
that. I need to talk to
clarification.
John about that until we do it. It's just
Yep.
informing me that there seems to be some confusion.
Reclarification on that. Everything else? Oh, and then, Jonathan, I cut you off before, the pistol range.
Yeah.
No, you cut me off.
Again, what I did was, I think we're probably gonna put some money towards it. I think I put 75.
You know,
And
the-
what I,
Yeah, go ahead.
but on the addition, we have to get it designed first. And we had gotten a proposal last year, and it was more than I thought it should be, or more than I thought we would be willing to spend for this design. I think, but I added another 15,000 within the engineering lines I had allocated for that, and for doing the conceptual for what John wants to do with the bays, and he had his long-term plan too. So I wanted to, get him his feasibility study, because we put it off for 2 years also. So there's no way we're gonna do that and build everything this year anyway, so that's the approach I think we should be taking this year.
Want to reduce it to an amount that we're putting towards it.
I would say 75 for now.
So move to reduce the police
Oh,
pistol.
no.
No?
I had 90, I had half of it, so I had 95, but.
I would keep it at 75. Yeah.
So it's 212, and we're going to reduce it to 75?
Yeah.
So move to reduce it from 212 to 75.
Second.
In favor? Because I don't think we did,
We really can't do it that way, Mayor, with all due respect, because you should deal with the 200,000 cost, and then leave the other expense number to be whatever, the formula works it out to be. The 212 includes the other expenses.
Okay, yes, so.
So you're dealing really with 200,000 down to 75.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
we throw.
And then
Yes,
back-
and that's,
yeah.
yes,
The 10,000 that,
yes, that's
Yes.
that's fine.
Okay.
That question, please? Do you have other money put aside for that at this point?
No, we talked about it last year, I don't think we did, I think it came out last year, but Alan can confirm
Kind of
that.
what kind of fast?
So, Alan, we're reducing it
No,
175.
we had talked about
Is that correct?
adding it,
I thought we did add engineering money in.
no, the engineering, but we didn't
Money
spend it.
for it.
Yeah.
You need a new motion for that?
$7,500 for repairs. That's what
Oh,
we had last
yeah,
year.
we took the capital out.
So I need to change the motion, because it got moved second.
Okay. And then-
So, I said to 75,000, what we're really reducing is the
The bonded amount
to,
75,000.
well, no, there's 10 in down payment, so we'd be reducing that too.
Well, no, it's
200 to 75.
Yes, that's it.
200, so amend the motion to the 200 to 75.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that brings us to, that brings down payment to 32. I'm sorry, did somebody say something? I'm sorry?
We share?
No,
No, it's ours.
It's ours.
we've had the chief go through the analysis, and his analysis has shown that if you start sending people outside, it impacts overtime, impacts training time, there's cost involved, so we always advocated that it's more cost effective for us to maintain our home. My concern is, I'd rather not see it where it is. I think it's the last time. I think having that down there ruins us having potential of a little waterfront park. Because you have all that area down there on the side of KPG, you can't use it because of the pistol range. So one thing I was looking at was whether, because John Lynch had wanted to do a small addition to one of the bays and stuff, see if we could figure out a way to move everything around so we pick up some space in the back there.
All the towns, most of these towns right here, the pistol rangers.
Well, New Milford does.
New Milford does.
New Milford
New Milford does.
A lot of the towns go to Mawa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we booked that one. Okay, I'm gonna just call for a 5-minute recess. We're back on. Alan, just go for the record that it will count the people again. Everyone's back in attendance. Are there any more on the capital side?
everything else is largely,
I think we need Alan to propose the changes and we'll see
yeah,
where we
see where
are.
we're at.
My numbers, and they could be wrong, is that for total approved, and just effective, we reduced it by 1.481 million. That's with the add-ons and the reductions. So, but I'm sure Alan will, have better numbers next time we meet. Are we meeting in
But that means we reduced the total CIF by 75,000, plus or minus.
Yes, thanks, sir.
We're still down.
Yeah, no, we have to keep going.
So we're still a long way from getting to where we, so some of the capital items will probably have to be trimmed once we get the final, plus.
Mayor,
Yes.
the storage shed for company number 2?
Yep.
In just reading, they want to get one of those storage containers like John uses. You know, they have 6,000 down for that. Is that what he pays for those?
They, that was built by members about 25 years
Yeah,
ago, and they store the extra pumps, supplies, the snow blower, et cetera. It survived
Is it raised?
three floods and many winters, but the floor and the right side are rotting away.
No, I know. I just wanted to know, is that
But it's gonna,
John?
one? I'm just concerned about the visual of a storage container down there, I guess, for the
It's not
business.
visible.
You
Not
can't see it,
visible?
it's
Okay.
way in the back. And John Lynch is the one who recommended that they
I'm not
put a
concerned about
shipping,
it. And maybe that has to be addressed, how they can raise it.
Well, it says it's watertight.
Shipping containers?
yeah,
It's a
that-
shipping
that-
container, yeah.
They treat me like,
Connor.
John Lynch wants to, he suggested replacing it with a shipping container.
Yeah.
And like a shipping container, a couple of them, and it's watertight, it's all steel.
There's enough room right there for the shipping container?
When you get the
It's
other
on one side of the getting.
Oh, that's it.
Yes.
So I'm not thinking.
And that request includes the demolition and the removal of the old shed,
Okay.
purchasing of the shipping container, and building the inside shelving, so it's total.
I was just curious if it was visible. Like,
No, it's
that's-
not.
Okay, that's all.
So, 9:45. We can either start going to operating again, or we can adjourn and just start fresh with operating next Saturday.
Yeah.
And we didn't cut anything from police, except change
Yeah.
that,
The pistol range.
Just the pistol range, yes.
this one. Al.
What, you want to cut something from
How
the police?
wonderful for you, Al.
They don't answer for extra. So, want to adjourn then?
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll adjourn till Saturday. Councilwoman has told us
I'm not-
18 times.
Now I'm gonna make it 19.
Chris wants to know what you feel very